Hi, it's Hugh and Katie here, Mount Alexander Fruit Gardens. We're in the middle of planting cherry trees, so we just thought we'd show you how to plant a tree. You'd think planting a tree is pretty simple. You dig a hole, you put the tree in, but there's actually some things you do and don't want to do, so we'll show you what those are.
There.
Right, so now we're going to scrape the weeds away from the surface so that we can get a good clear patch of soil to plant into. And we'll put those weeds back on later, upside down at the end, as a bit of a mulch mat. So that's looking about right.
Now you can probably see here, you might notice that Hugh's running into this line. That's just a fishing line that we've put in place. So you see the row that we've already planted behind where Hugh is, just to make sure that's nice and straight. Not for any particular reason, except we run an irrigation line down there, so it's easier if it's straight.
Alright, so now we'll dig our hole out. We're just about a shovel depth. You can see this is pretty easy digging. The soil's nice and moist at the moment. We've had a good amount of rain over the last month or so. So it's actually ideal for planting into just at the moment. This patch of orchard you can see where our topsoil, you can see the soil profile. There's the topsoil. We've got good 3 to 4 inches of topsoil, then it goes into this sort of clayey, gravelly sand, which actually isn't bad soil, but it does need some improvement. Give the trees a bit of a head start. So now we're just neaten up the hole a bit.
So that's about a 600mm squarish round hole.
A squarish round hole.
600, is that about right?
That's about right.
Yep.
So we make sure the soil's nice and loose in the bottom. If you hit clay in the bottom of your hole, it's a good idea to dig into it and loosen it as much as you can, just so the tree's not sitting on solid clay.
Yeah, you don't want to create a bowl for it to sit in, do you? Or
Alright, now
drown.
So it's nice and loose. So now on top of that I'm going to add some nice compost that we've got here.
Here's some compost that we collected earlier.
There we go. On top of that we'll just chuck in about a cupful of complete organic fertiliser, which we'll mix through the soil, mix the soil and the compost and the fertiliser in together, and then we're ready to put our tree in. So let's do that.
Okay, now we'll get the tree out. Now we dip the trees first before we plant them in this fabulous concoction. Can you see in there? This is a brew that's made of worm castings taken out of our worm farm and mixed in the water. You can see how lovely and black and revolting it is. And then, so that's to put some microbes that live in the worm castings, put them in the water so they populate the roots of the tree before we plant it. And then we've also added some liquid fish and liquid seaweed into the water, so it smells delightful as well. And that's to give the microbes some food, just to get them started until they get established in the soil. So lovely wet roots on the tree, so let's go and plant it. Alright, so now I'm going to get a shovel full of this lovely loose soil mixed with compost, mixed with the fertiliser, out of the hole. And then position the tree nicely so that all the roots fit in. If you can see down there, see the roots fit in there. If they don't, it's fine to just trim them off so they do, or stop and make the hole a little bit bigger. But you don't want the roots too bent over or anything. Give them plenty of space. Then now at this stage, don't completely fill the hole. You just cover the roots and then give them a shake to make sure that the soil has fallen down. There's no air pockets in amongst the roots. And then this is also quite important. Stamp it down really firmly. Use your heel, and you will have noticed where the main roots were, so you've got to be careful that you don't break any roots off when you do this. There we go. And then you can backfill the hole.
You can see we're breaking up the lumps as much as possible, just so that it's nice and smooth, and so it looks nice when you're finished.
And again, as you're backfilling the hole, stamp the soil down really firmly. There's no need to stake a tree at all if you've planted it properly like this, so that the soil's back in the hole really firmly.
You don't want the tree falling over the first time you water it. You'll notice we haven't watered it. We're not watering them in as we go. The tree's not actually using water at this stage. As you can see, there's got no leaves on it, and they shouldn't have when you're planting them. And then to finish it off, we'll just put those clods of weeds that we took off to start with, we'll just put them back on upside down, just to make a bit of a weed mulch mat, so stop the weeds coming back up too quickly. They will come back up, and we will actually mulch these trees after we've done this, after we've got them all planted. And there we go.
Last step, pruning the tree, and you'll see I'm measuring it about against my knee. We start all our trees, grow them all as vases, which means we want our branches to start nice and low. So, you ready? And it's done! One cherry tree planted and ready to grow.